Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Defend Asian Elders March live stream. I am Brian Pang, he, him, hosting today's online program. Today, we will be streaming the Defend Asian Elders March rally in San Francisco, led by organizers from the Asian Justice Movement Coalition. We will hear from community leaders Christina Chen, Hudson Liao, Justin Zhu, Kevin Benedicto, Mark Moreno from the San Francisco Police Department, poet Yume Kim, along with a lion dance performance. The group will march from Washington Square to Portsmouth Square. And if you're tuning in, you likely know why we are marching today. But for those who don't know, this is an emergency response to recent violent attacks on Asian elders in San Francisco. We are here as a community to demand that San Francisco's elected leaders, city officials, and police department work urgently to address the ongoing and persistent acts of violence our Asian elders have faced, and to apprehend the perpetrators of recent violent attacks on elders of the Asian community. And this is urgent. It has only been 1 week after the horrendous beating of Mrs. Ren, a 70-year-old resident at a senior living center, and just 5 days after the violent assault on an elderly Asian man, to heinous and despicable events which demonstrate the racism and hatred that continues to target the Asian American community. These cowardly and completely unacceptable acts of continued violence against our Asian elders must stop, and action must be taken now. We are here today to fight for our civil rights and demand real action, not just words. Our community must feel protected, and perpetrators must be held accountable for their acts of hate and violence. Stand with Asian Americans has organized a fundraiser to pay for security services at the senior living center where Mrs. Ren was assaulted. You can see the link in the ticker here below, which will remain live throughout the stream. And now I will play some videos leading into the march itself.
And pull me down.
Already on the ground, Mrs. Ren is kicked squarely in the face.
They used the fist to hit my head multiple times, and then they pull me down to the ground and kept hitting me, kicking me.
The horror doesn't end there. When Mrs. Ren tries to hide in the hallway and is unable to close the door, the suspects return again, not to steal her watch or earrings, but her keys, and to take turns assaulting the terrified senior.
I never expect this would happen to us, even though we saw a lot of reporting from your station, in particular you, Ms. Lim.
While both Mrs. Ren and her daughter can't sleep because of the trauma, they, without hesitation, wanted to speak out for a purpose.
I want this story to come out so people know, and so for other people to be aware, to be safe.
Is vibrant and diverse. Here in the Bay Area, there's a push happening right now to help underserved Asian youth see themselves on the big screen. Joining me now to discuss live are community organizers Hudson Liao, founder of Asians Are Strong, and Justin Zhu, co-founder of Stand with Asian Americans. Thanks so much, guys, for being here with us this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so, this weekend, you're joining together to offer some free screenings of Joe Coy's film Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
It's this wonderful showcase of Filipino-American culture. It's set in Daly City. And you're offering this for underserved kids in the AAPI community. So a few things to unpack coming out of this, right? So first of all, walk us through why you're holding an event like this.
It's important to show and celebrate our wins right now during a time where there's so much hate, friction, and angst in the communities. it is important to remember to celebrate our wins when we can. You know, it gives us the energy, gives us a reason and inspiration to keep doing what we do. And, you know, right now, during a time where it's important to have the proper representation too. And that's why I love this film so much.
Would you like to add anything to that, Justin?
Yeah, I think we've seen a rise, of course, in Asian violence as well. And part of the film and part of these events, we are bringing youth groups from all sorts of underserved communities together. And so it's really to show that there are paths forward to heal and unite.
And talk us through the value of seeing diverse faces on the big screen and the impact that has on the next generation.
Yeah, you know, when you see heroes, you're like, do they look like us, right? You know, and we haven't had that growing up, especially when you talk about diverse Asian communities. And that's why this film gets me really excited. I'm born and raised in San Francisco, so I have a lot of Filipino friends.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a Filipino church, shout out Faith Bible Church. And they invited me to all the food and the holiday parties, but I've never seen it celebrated like this before. And so it's important to have that.
Yes. And Justin, any thoughts to that?
Yeah, and just to add, I mean, what's special about this film with Joe Coy and the films we've been supporting, like Shang-Chi, is that they are led by Asian actors. And a recent report from USC showed that over the past 10 years, there has been no meaningful increase in Asian leading representation. About 3.4% of leads or co-leads are Asian American, and about 6% are speaking roles. And so it's critically important that when we do have films that are led by Asian Americans, directed by Asian American, we really have to be out there to support them.
Yeah.
And, you know, speaking from personal experience too, it almost, you know, when you see faces that that you can connect to and relate to on the screen, whether it's television or in the movie theater, it almost feels like, wow, like that's an opportunity. That's something that I can do, right? Like from my own personal experience, like when I was growing up in the Bay Area in San Jose, when the only way, a big way that I thought that a career in television for myself was possible is when I saw other Asian American women on television. There weren't that many in the Bay Area. There's more now, fortunately, but I don't think that would have been possible, as I would have seen that as a career choice for myself if I hadn't seen that representation on the screen.
Yeah, we're hoping, you know, the next Joe Coy is going to come to one of our screenings right now. So, you know, we just inspire one next kid, one next generation to take it to the next step.
And speaking of amazing women, Janet Yang became the first Asian American to lead the Academy. And it's
that's right.
To see that. And so we are part of the issue, I think, with not having representation is that the people who are in power, who are heading the studios, there's a New York Times research in 2020 that showed out of the 25 people who lead our TV and Hollywood studios, three are Black or Hispanic, none are Asian.
And you know, this screening, you're hoping to provide that screening for underserved AAPI families, right? So walk us through the demographics and some of the numbers here in the Bay Area. Yeah,
I mean, the Asian culture and API culture is not just diverse culturally speaking, but also socioeconomically speaking. There's about 1.3 million API people living in the San Francisco Bay Area. About 31% of them live in what you consider low-income poverty lines. So that's 390,000 Asian American Pacific Islanders that live in low income, which is completely different from the model minority of us all being successful. If you want to spend some time with me in the Tenderloin or in Chinatown doing some community work in Visitation Valley where a lot of partners are, you'll see it. And you'll see these communities always interacting together. And that's why it's important to kind of break that type of model minority and all these stereotypes. And that's why it's important to bring these kids out here too, to show that, hey, it's okay where you're at. It's about where we're going to go and where we're going to be and showing it on the big screen at the same time.
Yeah, and your organizations are both very involved in activism on behalf of the Asian American community. What are some tangible steps that people can take today to help create a more welcoming and more inclusive environment?
You want to go first?
I think if you are in positions of power, it's mentor the people who are not, the people of color. And myself growing up here, and I was involved in entrepreneurship, I had no mentors who are Asian American or who really sought me out. And I think we have an ability now where there are more Asian leaders like yourself in positions of visibility and power And it's critically important that, as hard it is to reach out to our community, our younger community, including especially community who are out in Chinatown, these poor neighborhoods who don't have access to our networks to get the support and get the visibility that they need.
Hudson?
Yeah, to me, about community work is it takes the community to save the community. And so you have to be boots on the ground to really understand what the problems are and how to relate with them. So for all the people that want to be active now, go get active, have the tough conversations with other community members internally as well. You have to build real relationships with people. It's not a social media post, right? Like it's not just knowing stats. Go out there and be part of the actual change you want to be. That's why we have like a rally tomorrow. Like we work with kids today. Tomorrow we have a rally to demand change as well. Like it's not mutually exclusive on celebrating and still fighting for what's right.
Yes.
All right, Hudson and Justin, we appreciate your perspective and time this morning. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
All right. Well, if you know a family or child that would really enjoy Joe Coy's film, Easter Sunday, and maybe draw some inspiration from it, they're screening this happening today at noon at the independent and Asian-owned Presidio Theater. That's at 2340 Chestnut Street in San Francisco. So spread the word. We'll be right back.
All right, so you heard from Hudson Liao and Justin Zhu, two of the lead organizers from today's march. And you heard it from Hudson too. Be a part of the change you want. And now I will cut over to the San Francisco live stream.
Lion dance me, y'all. My name is Charles Jung. We're here to fight Asian hate. 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 Christina Chen.
Thank you so much for coming today, everybody. My name is Christina Chen. I'm a volunteer leader with Compassionate Oakland. We are a patrol group that conducts foot patrols in Oakland, Chinatown, and chaperones elders. The elders that we assist, unfortunately, are, because of rampant anti-Asian violence, afraid to go outside and undertake essential life activities. Things that we take for granted, like going to the grocery store, seeing a doctor, or getting medication at a pharmacy. I'm here today for the same reasons that many of you are. We are mobilizing because we are tired and absolutely overwhelmed by the images, the graphic videos, and the news stories that we are seeing daily of our elders being brutally assaulted, being shot, being stabbed, chased down and robbed like Mrs. Wren, who should have felt safe in her housing complex, and set on fire. The violence has been horrific. It's clear to us in our community that there is an epidemic of racism and violence targeted towards our community. I hear it from the elders that we patrol with. We hear it from our family members and loved ones as well. People are scared. It feels like open season on the Asian American community, especially for the most vulnerable segments of our community, the elderly, women, immigrant food delivery workers, nail salon workers, struggling businesses in our Chinatowns, our Little Saigons, our Koreatowns, and other API neighborhoods, businesses that are repeatedly ransacked and vandalized as owners are struggling to survive and put food on their families' tables. We are here today to send a message to the world that this is unacceptable. Our community deserves safety. What I have learned is that we as a community have to come together to collectively demand attention and action be taken to protect and defend our elders, because otherwise nothing will be done. I got involved in patrolling because it felt like in the midst of all these news reports and these graphic images that we were seeing of our elders being beaten up and abused, that nobody outside of the API community cared or even knew what was going on. Every time an elder is beaten or murdered, I see very little to no response from our elected officials, from the national news media, or from any of our leaders pushing for measures to stem this violence. It's time for us to speak up and demand justice. Our elders in our community raised us. They nourished us with love. They taught us to stand strong. It's time for us to uplift them and fight for them. I look into this crowd and I see, that's right. The days of feeling helpless are over. I see in this crowd amazing potential to do great things in our community. I see so many leaders here that are already doing incredible work. We should all recognize our own power and step into it and understand that we can all contribute in ways, big or small. You don't have to be patrolling in the streets like so many of the patrol groups I see here. You can get involved with assisting API victims of crime. You can be an active bystander when you witness something happening. You can be an ally. You can get involved in community service for low-income seniors and families and SROs. Become involved in policy work, or even just have conversations with your friends and loved ones to educate them that anti-Asian violence didn't just stop and start last year. It continues daily, and we can all work together to stop it. I'm proud today to present a panel of speakers who are already doing critical work in our community and to hear from public agencies and law enforcement on the measures that they will commit to today to protect and defend our elders. First, we're going to hear from Justin Ju, co-organizer of Stand with Asian Americans, which organizes Asian American business leaders to fight for change and end discrimination and violence against the API community.
Is this max volume? Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming here on a Sunday. Normally, this is just a park with people getting brunch, enjoying their lives. But for the Asian elders who live here, that is not a reality for them. They cannot go outside. They cannot go enjoy the sunshine in the parks because they're being targeted for who they are. I live just a couple blocks from here. By the way, I'm Justin Zhu, co-founder of Stand with Asian Americans. Thank you. I live just a couple blocks away from here. That's also where that 70-year-old Asian woman was attacked. She lives in a low-income senior center where it's mostly Asian Americans, elders, and if you did not see the news about these attacks, you will not know this is happening. And we're fortunate that some of the neighbors of Miss Ren is here today, and they've shared with us that they're routinely being followed in and beaten and robbed. And that's been going on for a long time. And because they don't speak English and they have the resources that we do, these stories have not been coming out. And it took a vicious attack on Miss Ren, where she was beat up by 4 people, robbed and kicked in the head for us to be here. And not only her, 2 days after, in Soma, another 70-year-old man was pushed and kicked in the head. And so we are here to demand real action, not rhetoric, from our elected leaders, from SFPD Chief Scott. Yes. We've been doing rallies for years, yelling "Stop Asian Hate," and hearing from our elected leaders that they're going to do everything they can to protect Asians and stop Asian hate, over and over and over again. We've had enough of rhetoric. We want results. So we are here first to demand that Chief Scott, within 10 days of this meeting, of this rally, host a public town hall where we can all gather and ask questions on how we can figure this out together, because it's not enough just to rely on the elected leaders to figure it out. They have not been doing enough. We need to do more. Thank you for being here. I want to also say this in Chinese. because we have a lot of folks who may not speak English here. Bear with me when I pull up the language here. 我叫朱浩然，是 Stand with Asian Americans 主责的联合创始人。今天我们在这里与亚洲仇恨做斗争，对我们亚裔长者的暴力行为是不可接受的。我们在这里要求我们的政府加快解决针对我们亚洲长者的暴力行为，别再找借口。我们要求在这4级会后的10天，由 Scott 警察局长组成的公共市政厅回答我们正在采取哪些方法来在不最方便保护我们的老年人。谢谢你的到来，我们将继续战斗，直到亚裔生活安全并获得正义。Thank you. Say it with me. Fight Asian hate. Fight Asian hate. Fight Asian hate.
Thank you so much, Justin, for your work and for speaking directly to our elders today. Today, we've also invited members of the SFPD and SF Police Commission to speak with us to share information on how they plan to address anti-Asian violence. We're first going to hear from Lieutenant Mark Moreno to provide any updates on Mrs. Wren's case and generally address measures being undertaken by the SFPD to curb and stop incidents of anti-Asian violence. So Lieutenant Moreno, if we can have you up here and share some information.
Thank you very much. I'm not as articulate as Justin or some of the other speakers, so I'm going to take some notes.
大家好，我今日係幫警官 Moreno 翻譯嘅。咁佢頭先話咧，佢講嘅冇 Justin 講得咁叻，但係佢會 try his best。
So good morning. My name is Mark Moreno. I'm a lieutenant assigned here to Central Station, and thank you everyone for the opportunity to speak today.
大家好，我嘅名叫 Mark Moreno， 我係警官中央警官嘅頭。
I want to talk just really quickly about the recent events in Chinatown and the AAPI community at large, specifically with some of the burglaries in Chinatown and the absolutely despicable incident involving Mrs. Wren last week, and then the incident that happened a couple days ago with Commissioner Chu.
咁我今日想講一下我哋唐人街最近同埋亞洲嘅社區最近嗰啲事件，尤其是係我哋亞洲嗰啲 business 成日俾人搶劫，同埋最近任太俾人襲擊嗰個事件，同埋另外一個係同一個星期有一個70歲嘅男人都俾人襲擊。
Just as a general reaction, I can tell you personally and departmentally, we are very upset. We're very frustrated with these incidents at every level of the police department.
咁我哋喺警察官入邊對呢啲事件嘅我哋喺警察官事件入邊對呢啲事件都係好唔開心嘅，同埋好煩惱。
Myself, my fellow officers from Central Station, and the entire department condemn these actions. We take these crimes very seriously, very personally. This is where we work. This is where we want to work. And these are the communities that we want to work for.
咁樣我同我啲工友都覺得對呢啲事件我覺得好唔開心。呢個地方係我哋想幫助嘅，同埋我哋想喺呢度做多啲可以改變嘅改變嘅 actions。
With respect to Chinatown and the AAPI community, Central Station has a very long-standing, very positive and collaborative relationship with members of these communities.
咁我哋喺中央警察局入邊，同埋 Chinatown 社會嗰啲人係有好嘅relationship 關係，有好嘅關係。
I didn't know that word. Central Station has every day we have 2 officers assigned to our footbeat. Some days 4. They're on the outskirts right here, watching me here. In addition, we have 2 to 4 officers every day as part of our tourism deployment, which we've increased. Those work every day in Chinatown. We are increasing our patrols at night, especially the late evening and early morning. And we are also using some of our special operations, specialized units to increase the patrol and increase the eyes and ears out of the street, especially in the Chinatown community.
咁樣我哋喺中央警察局入邊已經增加咗巡邏喺唐人街，每個星期7日有2個警察，然之後我哋夜晚都增加咗巡邏。
So in addition to the increased patrols, we work very closely with our investigative units to help identify and apprehend the suspects that are responsible for these incidents.
咁樣除咗巡邏之外，我哋入邊我哋保證會一直查出兇案事件同埋襲擊我哋壞人嗰啲 criminals。
Sometimes we understand, sometimes it can be frustrating because sometimes these investigations take a little longer than we want. We understand that. We realize it is frustrating. But I can assure you that we will continue to pursue every investigative lead that comes up in these cases.
咁我哋想講，我哋知道有時查呢啲事件會好耐，同埋會好煩惱，但係我哋保證我哋係想幫你哋解決呢個問題嘅。
As mentioned, we are hopefully we are very close to identifying some of the suspects in a couple of these cases. I can assure you that our investigative division, our robbery division, specifically with the incident with Mrs. Wren, we will not stop until we find these suspects. We will not be deterred, and we will not give up until these perpetrators are arrested and they are brought to justice.
咁佢想講咧，任太嗰個事件，佢哋而家仲係查緊，同埋有好多唔同嘅事件，佢哋都有啲進步嘅。
And just to kind of conclude, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to speak. I mean this 100%. I was born in San Francisco. I lived here many years. This is personal to us. Okay, we take this personally, and we will do everything we can in our power to make sure this community is safe.
What changes to recommend going forward?
咁佢想多謝大家今日俾佢呢個機會講，同埋佢都係喺三藩市長大嘅，咁呢個問題對佢嚟講都係有啲 personal， 即係佢自己都有啲感覺嘅。Yeah.
Thank you for that question. That's a great question. That's a fair question. I can't speak departmentally because I'm kind of really specific to this station, but I can tell you at this station, we have increased our patrols. We're trying to get a more visible presence out there. You see them here today. These are not officers just brought in for today. They are working every day. So they are out here every day, and that is an increase in what we used to have. What has changed, especially like I mentioned earlier, are some of our increased patrols at nighttime, using some of our other units within our department that we necessarily haven't traditionally used in the Chinatown area.
So hi guys, I didn't formally introduce myself, but my name is Amy Lee, and I founded a nonprofit last year called Dear Community. We're very active in Chinatown. But like the lieutenant just said, if you want to say hi to the FIPI officers, like we do see them in Chinatown a lot. Like whenever I'm there, they're there. So there is a community there. And going back to translation services, that's something that's direly needed. I myself am an ABC, and I really wanted the non-English speakers today to understand what is going on, because I think a huge deterrent of them coming to these rallies and marches is because they feel unheard and they also don't understand. So if you're here today and you want to be more involved and help us translate or teach me how to translate more, like please come up and talk to us. But I think these rallies are really great for visibility, and we have to keep coming and we have to keep speaking up, even if we don't know the words to it, right? Like, yeah.
Thank you so much, Amy and Lieutenant Moreno. Let's just chant again and remind everybody: fight Asian hate, fight Asian hate, fight Asian hate, fight Asian hate, Asian hate. Thank you so much. Yeah. And now we're going to defer questions till the end, but we're going to hear right now, we are on a bit of a tight time schedule, but we're going to hear now from Kevin Benedicto, who is my colleague who works as both a civil litigator and a civil rights attorney, and was recently appointed to the San Francisco Police Commission. And Kevin will discuss the commission's work with us today.
Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you all so much for being here. Like Christina said, my name is Kevin Benedicto, and I'm a San Francisco Police Commissioner, civil rights lawyer, a member of the AAPI San Francisco community. I am devastated and angry that we even need to be here today. But I'm proud to lend my voice to the community and proudly commit to fighting Asian hate. We're here today for Mrs. Ren, for Commissioner Chu, but we're also here for every one of us who have felt the discomfort and the fear for ourselves, for our families, and for our elders. And because we are fed up and are committed to fighting Asian hate. On behalf of the San Francisco Police Commission and the San Francisco Police Commission President, Cindy Elias, we're committed to working with everyone here to fight Asian hate. We're committed to listening and hearing from the community. We're committed to supporting you and fighting alongside you. I know that Lieutenant Moreno and SFPD and several patrol officers are here, and I want to thank them and for Central Station for being here. I also want to thank some of the incredible elected officials that are also committed. We have our city attorney, David Chu. We have Supervisor Matt Dorsey. We have State Senator Scott Wiener. There's no one person or one solution that can stop this, but I know that everyone here is committed to being a part of this fight. These attacks on API community members and our elders have shaken our community to its core. They have been brutal and despicable. We can no longer just treat them as standalone incidents, but as widespread systemic problems that require widespread systemic responses. This is an emergency, and it needs to be treated like one. We need everyone in the community. We need our local governments, our state governments, and our federal governments to band together and commit to fighting Asian hate. I'm committed to being a part of that, as is the entire police commission. I'm committed to hearing you and supporting you and lending my voice to yours to demand action. In the coming weeks, I'll be meeting with SFPD command staff, fellow police commissioners, and most importantly, members of the community to come up with concrete steps we can take to change the status quo. In fact, and already speaking to SFPD command staff, SFPD will be having a town hall to address the community on these issues. I also plan to meet with other city leaders on other ways we can treat this like an emergency and respond to it like an emergency. I'd like to thank all of you for coming today and for allowing me to speak to you. Looking out at the crowd, while I'm still angry and shaken by these attacks, I also feel hope from the strength of the community here today. I feel hope in seeing the resilience of our San Francisco community. For all of us here, San Francisco is our home, and we will fight to make sure that we are safe and welcome in our home. Thank you all very much.
Kevin, thanks so much for sharing that. And I do have a follow-up for you. So you mentioned that you're going to call on the commission to treat anti-Asian violence as an emergency. What kind of measures specifically and policies and actions is the commission going to take to combat anti-Asian violence?
That's a great question. Already, I've spoken to the urgently to the chief about the need to have more bilingual officers who can patrol the community and be more responsive to the community. I just attended, along with Supervisor Dorsey, an academy graduation where we had bilingual Mandarin speakers as cadets. They'll be joining the force. I'll be asking the commission to set a hearing to ask the chief on what larger steps we can take and what we as a commission can do at the policy level to help ensure that there is a global response to these issues.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Next, we're going to hear from Hudson Lau, founder and executive director of Asians Are Strong, which promotes, give it up for Asians Are Strong and Hudson. Asians Are Strong promotes safety by empowering individuals to take action and educate community members and allies to stand against anti-Asian racism.
Hey, everybody. For you that don't know me, I'm Hudson, founders of Asians Are Strong. And you'll likely know that I'm probably going to go off the cuff on this speech. So for all of you getting ready to try to cancel me or social media, go ahead, because I'm going to speak from the heart. It's going to be authentic. You know. So right now, we do a lot in the community. We do a lot of community events, bonding between different ethnicities. We do work with the youth. We work with the underserved. But the most rewarding program that we have is actually working with the elderly. We do self-defense training with them once a month with our partners from Chinatown Volunteer Coalition. And it is the most rewarding thing to see them get some more agency and power back. And last month, we printed out flyers with those little tearaways that you get those information. A group of grandmas came with those tags in hand, proud to come to our self-defense. And it's not because they think they're going to become the most malicious group, right? We're not creating an army of angry grandmas out here. We're not creating like vigilantes or anything. What they cared about was us being there. Because for our community, and especially our Asian elders, actions speak louder than words. And by being there, by being in the community, what they saw is that we actually gave a fuck about them. And that's what we need this community to do. And that's what we need more of you to do. All of you at home watching, if you're pissed off about these attacks, and you're pissed off that our elders are getting attacked day in and day out, get active. Get active. We don't need your donations. We don't need your social media posts. We need you to come and get active with these community members right here and right now. And now I'm gonna take a little pause. I'm gonna speak to my Cantonese speakers a little bit. So bear with me a little bit because going off the cuff. 大家好，我叫我梁，我唔好介意我啲中文唔係最好，我係個土著仔嚟嘅，不過係三藩市出世嘅，所以唔好介意我啲中文。我想多謝晒，我好感謝咁多長者出嚟支持我哋。我叫阿梁，呢啲係我啲朋友，我哋加盟應承你哋，我哋會保護你哋，我哋日日都會保護你哋。無論乜嘢事發生，我哋都會保護你哋。同我哋會日日俾好多壓力對我哋啲差佬，我哋個政府啲人要改變我哋而家個情況，要改變我哋而家嗰個惡劣嗰個情況。一定會有嘅，我哋唔會停，我哋會日日都會幫助你哋。我哋唔記得冇，我哋冇唔記得你哋，我哋好掛住你哋，我哋日日都會出嚟成日幫住你哋。Thank you。I have one more thing. Fight Asian hate. Fight Asian hate. Louder, come on. Fight Asian hate. Let's go.
Thank you so much, Hudson. And speaking from the bottom of your heart, and your Cantonese, like your skills, Amy's skills, Justin's skills, and speaking Cantonese and Mandarin and Toisanese, it puts my Chinese skills to shame. So thanks so much for doing that. And lastly, we're going to hear a poetry performance from Yumi Kim. And Yumi is a writer and educator. She recently published a chapbook called Reserve the Right, a semi-autobiographical collection of poems shared through the perspective of a second-generation Korean immigrant woman who fights to break an overwhelming silence as she navigates the continual onslaught of patriarchal and racial oppression. Thanks so much for performing with us today, Yumi.
I'm going to keep my mask on. Can anyone hear me? All right, perfect. Okay. Dear anti-Asian racists, fuck off. To whom this may concern, please just fuck off with your anti-Asian hate. Fuck off with your bloodlust as you cowardly go after the elders of our community. Fuck off with enabling the whole all Asians are so crazy rich and successful bullshit mindset, as meanwhile in reality there are Asian families who are weary about whether they can make this month's rent as they ration out whatever food they still have in their pantry. Fuck off for thinking Asian accents are so fucking hilarious that you hypocritically swoon the second you hear an European accent. Fuck off for thinking of us as just a bunch of anime characters. We are living our lives and are trying to survive. Our sole purpose is definitely not to fucking entertain you. Fuck off for loving every Asian cuisine, but not giving a single ounce of care anytime another Asian person dies because of someone else's hate. So to conclude, fuck you. Fuck you for thinking that we're all are just gonna bow to you. Fuck off. We will continue to shout out our rage because our community is also strong and resilient too. So fuck off with your anti-Asian hate. Fight Asian 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 hate.
All right, everyone. So we are now going to occupy Columbus Avenue. We're going to have Lion Dance Me lead us in the charge. I need everyone to follow us and occupy Columbus Avenue to fight Asian hate. 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 Come on. Asian hate! Fight 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 Asian hate!
Protect our elders. Protect our elders. Fight Asian hate. 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 Fight Asian hate.
have two simple demands. Number one, we need to hold our elected leaders accountable. We need to hold our police officials accountable. Within 10 days, we expect a town hall in Chinatown with Police Chief Scott to explain exactly what is happening to protect Asian seniors and particularly the most vulnerable in low-income housing. Words are nice, but what the fuck are you doing? Second, we need safety. Right now, at the site of the attack in Francisco, in the base of Telegraph Hill, in that senior center, there is no security. No security. You heard from Justin, who relayed information from the residents that they are broken into constantly. They are under siege. They feel fear. No one deserves to feel that fear. Asians are American too. Laws apply to us too. Enough with stop Asian hate. No, we are fighting Asian hate. This is not about the organizers here. This is about our message. Everyone here has done their part to fight Asian hate. Look around you. These are people who have been engaged. Do your part. Hold elected officials accountable. Thank you. Fight Asian hate, One more lion dance show, please, and then we'll call it a day. Okay. Hi, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for the line dance performance. It's amazing. We're expecting the police to set up the town hall within 10 days, so please follow it. When we set it up, please come. All of y'all should be there to ask the questions. Any questions you have, these people serve us. They're our elected officials. And so please follow this. The town hall is just the beginning. We're going to have to get answers. We're going to have to keep meeting with these officials until results are shown. So thank you everybody for coming. This is just the beginning of Fight Asian Hate. Thank you everybody. One more. Fight Asian Hate. 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 Thank you, everybody. I needed it. It was rich.
All right, everyone. Powerful scenes of solidarity and unity here. People from various ethnicities and even dogs and lions. We just saw the group march from Washington Square to Portsmouth Square after several speakers, Uni Kim, our poet, with strong messages, along with a case update on the Miss Ren attack. And thank you all here on YouTube for tuning in and engaging in today's Defend Asian Elders March. Our demands are clear. We demand a public town hall with the San Francisco Police Department chief and action to reduce the ongoing acts of violence towards Asian elders. And we heard today that this will happen. We also demand immediate action to increase safety in low-income senior housing facilities. And for those of you tuning in today in the live stream, you can contribute to the safety and help defend Asian elders by sharing the stream, having discussions with your peers, your friends, your family, and especially allies. Donate to this GoFundMe, which will help us provide temporary security to the Asian elders in San Francisco. And continue demanding action to be taken by your city officials, lawmakers, and police departments. Because community orgs, many led by volunteers who do this on our own time and contributing our own resources and funding, is not enough. I also want to make a plug for tonight's episode of United Shades of America on CNN, hosted by W. Kamau Bell. Tonight's episode features and unpacks the Asian American experience. So tune in at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. Special thanks to the Asian Justice Movement Coalition, especially to all the organizing leads. Stand with Asian Americans, APAs versus Hate, Stand with Asians, Asians Are Strong, Compassion in Oakland, Delta Chinatown Initiative, Dear Community, Asian Leaders Alliance, and specifically these individuals: Justin Zhu, Christina Chen, Catherine Doe, Forrest Liu, Amy Lee with the Great Translations, Lily Ho, Jimmy Hua, Chris Lin, Charles Young, Myron Lee, Hudson Liao, John Sitt, Mark Young, and Kian Nguyen with the great camera work. Thank you all for tuning in and engaging in today's Defend Asian Elders March. Appreciate all that you do to uplift our communities. And you may be as enraged and empowered as we are. And it's time for all of us to step up, defend and protect our elders, and fight Asian hate. So to close us out, we will now play a personal safety highlight reel from the incredible Asians Are Strong team. Have a good rest of your Sunday.
Do something. You must actively stand up and speak out against anti-Asian racism in all forms at all times. Number 2, be your own hero. Stop looking around. You have to take your own personal ownership and responsibility to protect yourself, your family, and your community. Number 3, be brave together. Don't back down from hate. We are stronger together, and we need everyone to step up for the community. Asians are? Thank y'all for coming out. Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us and tuning in from the Asian Justice Rally live streams and press conferences. Thank you. It means so much to us and our community for you to support this movement right now. I'm Hudson.
I'm Jeremy.
We're two co-founders of Asian Are Strong. We are a 501c3 nonprofit based in the San Francisco Bay Area, but we have partners and volunteers throughout the nation. And our goal and mission is to protect and empower the Asian Pacific Islander community.
Asians Are Strong was founded in March of 2021, immediately after the Atlanta shootings, and also a tipping point in the increasing rates of Asian hate crimes. Myself, Hudson, a bunch of friends and family just thought enough was enough, and we got together, we formed the org, and to give back, not just to the Asian American community in the San Francisco Bay Area, but also the surrounding communities throughout the entire country, as well as those allies that support us.
Yeah, we know right now the most important thing for all of us is our safety for ourselves and our loved ones. And that's what we really focus on right now, so that we can give back confidence and empower our people. Because without personal safety, we know people don't feel individually empowered. And if they don't feel individually empowered, we can't engage them in our community. And if we can't engage them, we can't create a movement, which we need to demand the changes we want.
And especially on that note, we teach situational awareness, bystander intervention, and self-defense. And we try to promote a fun and safe environment so that you're not just doing this at a standalone activity. Self-defense and martial arts should be a long-term project that you're training on a daily basis. And by being well at those repetitions and you're training and having fun, by having fun, you're actually going to training. By training, now you're better equipped and set up for success for if stuff hits the fan. And especially on that, you'll build the confidence. And we have 3 call to actions to support that with: don't be passive, be your own hero, and be brave together.
Yeah, we promote a lifestyle. It's just not watching one video, one content. You know, we usually do these live so that me and Jeremy and our team can actually do live webinars and workshops with you, but we can't today. We're actually at the rally. I think I might be marching right now, and Jeremy's actually hosting the luncheon in San Francisco. So we're going to roll our top 10 most popular and best videos for all of you that haven't seen us. And if you want more of our content, follow us at Agent of Strong on Instagram. That's where we're most active. Or get in touch with us at agentofstrong.org. We can do something private for your company or your team or any of your community members. We love to work with people that way. So we're going to see some of our best videos. We cover bystander intervention, self-defense, how to defend against a knife attack, how to properly kick someone in the dick, and even defend against multiple attackers as well. So, you know, without further ado, we're going to roll the top 10 videos for you right now.
So our next self-defense move of the night is going to be what's called a low single. Okay, so it's a little bit more of an advanced move, but I assure you I've used this many times against much larger opponents in both jiu-jitsu and wrestling. Okay, so in this situation is another worst case scenario. It's when the perpetrator has gotten the person to the ground. Okay, so right here is Grace is going to be on the floor. Okay, Hudson is going to be the attacker. Again, worst case scenario, he's punching her, he's punching her. Now in this situation, I know it's going to be hard, but Grace needs to stay calm and look for her openings. Okay, so what she's going to do, right, as Hudson's attacking her, she's going to wrap her arms around the closest foot to her. Okay, so for this situation, it's going to be Hudson's left foot. Okay, and that's so for now. Grace needs to get to her knees as fast as possible. Okay, and from that point on, she's going to clamp down on Hudson's foot and ankle while pushing on her left shoulder. Okay, now once Hudson's on the ground, it's not over yet. Okay, so she's going again here. So Grace needs to secure this takedown before she stands up. Okay, so that's, again, she's hugging the leg, putting pressure on Hudson's shin or on his knee. Now, once she's achieved that, she's going to take her outside hand, she's going to plant it on the floor, and then she's going to do what's called a technical stand-up. Okay, so she's going to get her on one leg at a time. And as she's doing that, she's going to drag Hudson's foot towards her so Hudson can fully be on his back. Ooh. Now, Grace can do a multitude of different things. Okay, she can kick him in the face, kick him in the stomach. Okay, then stop him on the dick. But the main thing is she's got up, he's on the ground, and she can now run away.
This video is circulating now of another elder Asian woman being attacked and robbed in broad daylight. There is no excuse for the perpetrator's actions. But what is most infuriating about this video is watching that bystander stand there and do absolutely nothing. I mean, what is he thinking? The victim is literally looking at him, asking for help, and he just throws up his hands and walks away. We are reposting a bystander intervention technique that he could have used in that scenario to help her instead of just walking away. Hi, today's self-defense move is for bystander intervention, specifically for a scenario when you have someone attacking another person, standing up, throwing punches at them. So you have an attacker and they're beating someone up. You come across this on the street or something. What you're going to first do is come up from behind the attacker. You're going to grab him by the top and pull him back a little bit. Here, this actually puts all their weight on their back leg. This is the leg you're going to attack. You're going to step sideways, stomp their knee down onto the ground, and now with 2 hands on their clothes, you're going to pull them slightly backwards towards that down knee until they fall down. Make sure you tell your victim to run, and you can transfer to a knee on belly to control your attacker perpetrator, or you can get up and run as well. All right, today's self-defense move of the day is how to escape a hair pull, which is obviously more common for women, but for guys with long hair as well. So if your perpetrator is attacking you from behind and grabs your hair, and pulls you, one of the first things you want to do is attack with your back arm, elbow to the face right here. You want to turn and step into it to close the distance from the hair pull, so they don't have leverage to pull. So pull my hair. If he stays away from you, you can't hit back. So you want to step in and attack. From here, if it doesn't work, what you want to do is close the distance by collapsing his elbow in. So from here, this stops him from pulling your hair even more and separating distance. Try to pull back a little bit. So you want to hold it and just tug on here, right? From here, once you feel comfortable, you want to do an up elbow. Aim for the nose and chin. When you do this, keep your hand tight to your body. You're going to drive from your hip and your foot upward here. And if he still hasn't let go, grab the back of his neck and throw it into the solar plex here. That should at least bend him over. Push the perpetrator away. Hey, give me that phone. Hey, what are you doing, man? Hey, what are you now? What are you doing? Stop. It's on my phone. Hey, give me that phone. Hey, what are you doing, man? Help. Hey, everybody. So today we are going to teach you another self-defense technique for when you're attacked on public transportation or like a bus. This scenario is when we're sitting down and someone is directly in front of you. So to understand that first is that in this type of environment or any kind of public transportation, there's a lot less room, a lot more obstacles in your way that you have to be cautious of. One of the key things is that the aisle is your main point of exit and regress from a bad situation. So if someone's standing there, you have to reestablish that leverage as soon as possible. However, when someone's coming, an attacker is standing directly in front of you, you lose that. So if the attacker is here, I can't stand up, right? Because he's going to attack me. He has to leverage. However, say I was on my phone and I saw the attacker coming, the first thing I want to do is look up and get away. You want to get that distance, get back into the aisle, exit if you can. However, say it's too late and you don't see the attacker coming ahead of time. He's here, he's attacking you. Drop your phone so you have two hands to defend yourself. The first thing you want to do is put your hands up so it protects your head, makes it hard for him to punch you. The next step, the most important thing, is you're basically trying to close the distance between the attacker and you so they cannot generate enough momentum to hit you and hurt you. The way you can do that is you're grabbing anything of his clothes, his body, you're going to kick out his leg and pull him into your body as tight as you can. You're going to establish an arm control here as well as neck control back here, so you hold his head down and control his body. As he tries to get up, you try to kick his leg down, keep him down. You're basically trying to mitigate as much damage to you as possible. Even his free arm is going to be much harder for him to hit you because he doesn't have leverage. So right here, you're asking people to help you. You're yelling at the bus driver to stop the bus and get other people to intervene. You're basically stalling and mitigating harm to your body as much as possible.
So I'm going to tell you about the 8 stroller safety awareness tips. So number 1, get off your phone. I know we always want to be on our phone. We want to listen to music. We want to talk to our friends. At the same time, we have to be aware of our surroundings. Number 2, take off or do not use your noise canceling headphones. I know you want to listen to music. I know you want to be on your phone and talk to your friends again, but you have to be aware of what's around you. Okay, especially if you can't, see somebody coming up from your side. If you do want to listen to music, you could use a Bluetooth speaker like what I have in my stroller caddy. Just as loud and just as fun. So number 3, keep your weapons of choice, say your pepper spray or a pocket knife, with you in your stroller caddy. I like to keep my pepper spray easily available just in case something happens. Easily available. Number 4, do not hang things off of your stroller. I know as moms, we like the convenience of having everything with us and, our hands are always busy. But if you keep things on your stroller, it really sets you as a target for different perpetrators, attackers, robbers, that our stuff is just with us right here. And if they do pull on your bag that's attached to your stroller, it pulls the stroller and your child with them. So it could harm your kid as well. Another thing is that you just want to be safe. Put everything under your stroller, what it's used for. You can keep everything clear. Number 5, keep your phone and your bag separate. Just in case they take your bag, you would still have your phone. I like to keep my phone in my stroller caddy right here with me. And also, you can also keep your wallet with you. I like to keep mine in my pocket, away from my bag, just in case they can take it. Tip number 6, use your bag as a distraction. Say if you get robbed or attacked, you can pull your purse away to keep you and your baby safe. That's most important. This is why we also want to keep your phone and your bag separate. Tip number 7, if you're walking on the sidewalk, always walk towards oncoming traffic. Right now, I have no visual about what's behind me in case somebody might jump out of their car and grab my belongings. So right now, I'm walking towards traffic. Cars are coming towards me. Okay. This way, I have a visual for any potential threats. And if you need to, walk on the other side of the street, just for your safety and your baby's safety. Tip number 8, when you're walking on the sidewalk, always walk away from the curb. Right now, I can't tell if a car is going to come up right next to me and grab me, grab my baby, or grab my belongings. So I want to keep safe. I want to stay on this side of the sidewalk, closer to the building. That way I have more visual about what's in front of me and what's on the side of me. See how much space there is. I have more time to react. And in case a bystander is there, they can come and help.
Drop your neck. What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm here today with Jeremy from Asians Are Strong. Thanks for helping me out, brother. And we're just going over the defense technique against that low line stabbing attack that's straight up center line. So like this, where you're just basically stabbing in the center line. Okay. So we talked about in our last video about the characteristics of a knife fight. If you don't know, please go and check that video. If not, we're going to break down the tactics of how to approach this situation. So if I can't aware and avoid because I try to, but I end up backing myself into a corner or I'm in an elevator, I have no other choice but to defend myself because I can't escape. So the first thing is, if you noticed in the video, when he was separated from me and further away, my fighting stance was kind of like this. Then as he closed distance, I went from here to here. Why? Because I have my hands out right here. He can literally take the knife and cut my hand if he wanted to. Stab or just kind of just slash at it like that. I'm giving him a target. But when I bring my hands close to myself and make a fist, and I'm really tight like so, what I'm doing, I'm also protecting my flexor tendons. Flexor tendons is what control your grip. If I get cut here, I lose the ability to grip. Also, me bringing everything in tight forces him to come closer so I can effectively defend myself. So this is your fighting stance if you know that a knife is coming at you. Super tight like this. Just keeping your elbows in. Think T-Rex arms and just basically sniffing your knuckles. Okay. So we want to be able to minimize injury to yourself. So the attack is coming. So if you're a female or carrying a purse, that's what I see on the street a lot. When we use this as an example, what I see a lot is people holding it in their dominant hand. That creates an issue. I recommend carrying the purse in your non-dominant hand so you can use your dominant hand to push away and have strength to create distance. If you have a laptop in here, you can use that as a shield. Like, hey, stop, stop, stop. He's coming in. I can use that to brace myself and maybe even push him away and then run. Maybe if I can drop the purse and give it to him, it gives me a less weight to run, and it's just a laptop. Your life is more precious than that. So don't worry about your belongings. Okay. So now we're going to go into a little detail about the technique. It's called the split X. And in traditional martial arts, it's usually taught like this. So when he comes in for that low line stab, they create this kind of like low line, like this little X sign, and they stop it like so in traditional martial arts. The problem with this is you have to be precise, and also you're using two hands like so, where it's to the ability where you can use his hand and push down onto my hands, pull his knife back, and get cut. So that creates an issue. But we can take the basics foundation from this and teach the split X. Let me show you. So we're going to start off teaching by this motion here. What we're going to do is we're going to open our hands, and one's going to go high and one's going to go low. My right hand, the outside of my forearm is making contact between his elbow and his shoulder right here, and then the outside of my left hand is going to go inside his right forearm in between the elbow and the wrist. So it creates this kind of split X, and it creates this this sort of a funnel. And what you're doing is creating very powerful structure. So as Jeremy's coming trying to stab me, he's not going to make contact. And you can go as hard as you can, go a little bit harder, 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 as hard as you can. Keep going, as hard as you can. Go. One more, a little harder, a little bit harder. Cool, thank you. All right? So as you can see, that works really, really well. And if you notice, Jeremy was grabbing me here. So in a real life situation, what people tend to do instinctually is, I want you to walk up to me and grab my shirt and then try to stab me, okay? They normally try to take care of this arm first. But you have to understand, this is not what's going to kill you. This is what's going to kill you. Who cares if he's grabbing me? If you notice when he's grabbing me, I paid no attention to that. This is what's going to kill me, so I'm going to focus my attention on this. I can still create structure, and even if he grabs me in a really tight clinch, like so, so hold me down really tight. I can't move, I can't go left and right, it's pretty strong. And he comes in the stab, I can still, go ahead, try to stab. I can still create that separation between myself and the knife, okay? So once again, that split X, keeping good solid structure. The next thing that we're gonna do is go in. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna take my back of my right hand, I'm gonna go palm down and hook on the back of the elbow. The reason why I wanna do that is I wanna have two hands against one. So also, the knife attacks are in repetitive motion. So as he pulls back, I might not be able to hold on, so pull back really hard. I have missed the opportunity, but I can easily come back and create that split X structure when he comes in again. So if I get a good hold and he's able to, when he pulls back, it actually drives this momentum for me to knee. And what I'm kneeing is basically anything low line. I can go for the groin, but what I really want to do is basically get his leg to post back. So if he's standing up straight like this, he has pretty good structure, but if I post his leg back, it drops. You see him drop, so I have more control of him, and he's structurally broken. So once again, coming from split X, as he pulls back, I'm going to grab the back of his elbow. When he pulls, I'm going to step forward my left leg. I'm going to get into the knee, which breaks the structure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my back muscles like a rowing motion. I'm not using my biceps. I'm using my back, rowing. Structurally, it's stronger than your biceps. So I'm rolling him in, bringing his elbow to the tip of my sternum, okay? From this point, I'm just basically going to take my left hand and cover my right, my left palm, just cover up my right knuckle. Looks like this. And what this does is creates a very solid base where there's no room to wiggle. So if he tries to pull his arm out, I'm pretty solid, okay? At this point, I'm going to use my right hand. I'm going to pretend I'm shaking hands, and my left hand is waving bye-bye. So once again, shaking hand, waving bye-bye like this. I'm going to clip them together like that, and it's going to be right on this tricep tendon, and I'm going to bring my shoulders parallel 90 degrees like so. So it's pretty tight. So try to pull away, right? And then I know what you're thinking. Oh, I can just take his leg and take him down. I get it. But as I'm instructing this is just a moment in time, okay? So from this situation, once I have control of the arm, I know that he can't stab me. Notice that the knife is pointing down. When it's pointing down, you're doing it correctly. If the knife is pointing up or like this, he can easily pull away. So go ahead and pull away. There's no structure in that, okay? So knife is pointing down, I'm here. At this point, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a foot change to take him down. What I'm doing is I'm taking my right leg, I'm just gonna step back, not too, like I'm walking, I'm stepping backwards, just like you're walking. And then I'm gonna basically take his head and drive it toward my right foot, which takes him down flat on the stomach, like so. So from here, boom. And then what I always talk about is you never ever wanna drop your knees onto the ground because you don't know if there are needles or broken glass. You always wanna land on your opponent. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking my right knee, I'm putting on top of his head, taking my left knee and dropping it on his ribs. At this point, I'm gonna give verbal cues to drop the knife. If he does not drop the knife, I need to break something on him that will cause him not to attack me. So what I'll do is I'm basically gonna reach forward and do a Superman motion until his shoulder pops off out of alignment. So I'm dislocating that shoulder. At that point, how do I break safety? I'm just gonna go like this. I can push off, get up. If I want to make sure he doesn't come up after me, I just stomp on this ankle to break it and then run, okay? So putting that all together, I have my fighting stance, the split X comes out, I grab the back of the elbow. As he pulls back, I step forward knee, bringing the shoulder or his elbow to my sternum. I create that grip, I take him down, and I land on top of him, giving him verbal cues to drop the knife. And at that point, if you don't feel safe to take your to get up, you can just yell and help, ask for help nearby until the cops get there. So that's basically it. Any questions?
Vegas with my mom for her birthday. Just eating at the Bacchanal buffet and stuff like that.
You pervert! Oh shit! Oh, you creep!
Hey everyone. So today we're gonna go over the proper technique to how to execute a groin strike or a kick or knee to the dick. Now, there are three main things to consider when you're thinking about executing a move like this. That's number one is distance. Number two is positioning, leg positioning of your perpetrator. And number three is positioning of where to attack, where to aim, basically. So number one, distance is going to dictate what kind of strike you can use at all. If my perpetrator is standing this far away, I can't knee him this far. There's only two I can do. That is the soccer kick here, or the T, like the Spartan kick stomp towards the groin area. So we're going to cover the first one first, and that is the knee, the one that's close quarter here. Usually, and we're using this as our fake bar scene, where a lot of times this happens when someone's really close and you want to get them away, they may get aggressive with you. Now, a lot of times the first thing people want to do when they're thinking about doing a knee to the groin area is actually pull down and try to knee. As you can see, what happens when you do this, the person naturally brings the arm up to defend and pops their hip back, which makes it actually harder for you to hit that target. So he actually can defend it. What you can do here actually is do it to the knee, but to the face better. That is actually more effective. So going back to wanting to attack his groin, what you want to do is kind of distract his eyes, keep your hands up like, hey, stay away, stay away. This keeps him upright. His pelvic is more exposed, and so is groin area. From here, you can knee forward that way. Or like in the video, get something to cover his eyes, block his vision, like throw a drink or water here. You can push him up first and then throw a knee to the groin area. And what you want to do is come straight in towards the right under the belt line, because that's likely, obviously, where it's going to be. And even if it's not, he will flinch, and that might give you an opportunity to strike the head, strike the face. Now, going back to a farther distance, that means if he's this far away, I can't knee. The two things I can do is going to be a soccer kick or a stop here, right? So which one do I use? That depends on how his legs are, right? So if Jeremy is coming at me and his feet are like together, and he comes to, like, we're standing here, we're talking, and Jeremy's feet are together, it's a lot harder for me to do a soccer kick right up here because I have to aim right here. I'm likely looking down, so I'm telegraphing what I might do. And if Jeremy wants to defend it, he's just going to clamp his legs together and stop my leg, and now to push it back, and we're fighting again here. So in this position, thinking about his legs, what I would prefer to do is actually stop. He has a lot less defense here. And what you're going to do is bring your knee up and extend forward. And we're going to aim with our heel in this specific move because we're not actually sure where his groin is, especially if they're sagging. So this is the third point, is the positioning of where to aim is where the groin area is. Now you want to aim where the belt line is, but if you think your perpetrator is sagging, then you aim slightly above it. But if you aim with your heel, you get a lot more surface area on your foot, so you're going to stomp right there and kick forward and push as hard as you can and pull your foot right back. So that's knee up, kick forward, and come back. Now, in the other scenario where a soccer kick will be more effective is if he's walking at me. So if Jeremy walks at me, you see his leg is now open, his gait is open, I step backward, and now I can kick forward right here. And what I'm going to do is swing my hip forward and kick through. You want to kick all the way up so that depending on where his pants are, if his pants are sagging and whatnot, you're going to kick all the way up and really make connection from there and pull back and get away. So those are your top 3 considerations when you're going to execute a groin strike. Number 1 is distance between you and the perpetrator. Number 2 is their positioning of their leg and feet. And number 3 is where to aim. Hope that helps. Got it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, no, no. Hey, how you guys doing? So you guys have been asking about how to deal with multiple attackers. So us here at Asians Are Strong, we have a couple of fundamental concepts that we want to share with you. Now, before I begin, it's very, very important that not all confrontations are created equal. Anything could go wrong at a moment's notice. Now, it's really, really important to have good situational awareness. Also, if you are in a disadvantaged position, you must change your environment so that you can be in a more advantageous position so that the odds are stacked more for you as opposed to against you. Now, number 1 is going to be identifying your attackers and the positions of them. Number 2 is going to be, once you identify the attackers and positions, you're going to identify your escape routes, also choke points to avoid. And number 3, if you do need to engage or defend yourself, you're going to have to keep your attackers at what's called a linear pattern or a single file line. So you're engaging or defending one person at a time as opposed to 2 or 3 or 4. Number 1, actually, before I begin, get off this thing. Do your best to not be glued to your phone as best as possible. It's really important to have good situational awareness, especially dealing with multiple attackers. So going into it, I need to, number 1, identify my attackers and how many there are, and the positions they're in. So as you can see from right at this point, I have 2 attackers directly in front of me. Now, what I can do now, I can use my peripherals to scan my environment, make sure there's no one behind me, and if you can avoid the conflict at all costs by running away, run away. Number 2, after I identify my attackers and positions, I can start strategizing on where my escape routes are, also which choke points to avoid. Now, for example, it's a natural tendency for a lot of people to kind of back up against the wall or what's called a choke point. As you can tell from here, I've neglected completely 50% of my escape routes. It's important, especially when dealing with multiple attackers, you want to position yourself at the most advantageous position as possible. Now, as you can see, if I had just turned myself through the street, I have this whole entire open area to escape. I have the sidewalk to run against, and also I can run between these cars. It's important in this situation that you need to mitigate harm by getting out of there as safely as possible and doing your best to not engage with the attackers. Number 3, the very last resort. Now, let's just say I'm forced to engage my attackers. It's very, very important to keep them what's called a linear pattern or a single file line. So for example, here, I have 2 attackers in front of me. The last thing I want them to do is to surround me or outflank me. As you can see from here in this position, it's extremely disadvantageous. I'm forced to engage with 2 attackers at once, as opposed to 1 attacker at once. Now, to create that linear pattern, you need to do whatever you need to do to either shuffle or run, using your environment to your advantage. As you can see from here, I have 2 vehicles that I can go between, and I can funnel them through here. As you can see, as I'm funneling them, as they're coming through between these 2 vehicles, I can engage 1 attacker at a time as opposed to 2 of them at the same time. This whole time, I am causing the scene, I'm making noise. I'm trying to draw as much attention as possible so that either a bystander can intervene or higher echelon of care can come. Now, if I can avoid the conflict at all costs by running away,
hey man, what are you doing, man? Give me that. Hey, that's my phone, man. Give me your phone. Give me your phone. Give me. Get him. Oh, man. Get him, man. What are you doing? Stop. Yeah, stay down. Stay down. Huh? Hey, what are you doing?
Hey, what are you doing? Hey, stop the bus. Call the police. Hey, film this. Hey guys, help me out. What's up, buddy? Welcome to the Hotel California. Hey, how you guys doing? So what we're gonna cover today is bystander intervention, specifically reverting back to our hollaback 5Ds. So what are our 5Ds? It's distract, it's delegate, it's document, direct, and also delay. First thing what I need to do is distract. How do I do that? I need to make some sort of noise. I need to cause a scene. I can do that by either yelling or singing, whatever I can possibly do to catch the attacker off guard. After that, I'm going to delegate the bus driver by alerting him to stop the bus. Why do I want him to stop the bus? Is because it's going to be much easier for me to intervene on a stationary bus as opposed to a moving bus. Now I can delegate one more person to call the authorities, delegate another person to film or to document by filming. Also, if possible, getting the attention of other bystanders to help me intervene. Now, this whole entire time, I'm still making noise, I'm still causing a scene, I'm still distracting. If all else fails, this is when I'm going to actually directly intervene. Now, after I've controlled the attacker, what's really important is the delay part. I need to stay back and make sure that the victim is safe and okay.
Thank you.
Look, watch where you going.
What's wrong, man? Hey everyone, today we're going to go over how to avoid a straight punch. We've shown you how to avoid those crazy looping haymakers, which are most of the attacks. But today we're going to show you in those certain situations where someone straight punches you right down the pipe. The first thing is, if you can avoid the confrontation, avoid it. So you have to have situational awareness, which means you need to get off your phone. You can hold it, but if you're on your phone, you need to have situational awareness and be aware of your surroundings and look around. And you try to avoid it if you can. If you see a threat coming, avoid it if you can. Now, sometimes it's not. Sometimes that person's really looking for a problem. They walk out of the way and hit you. Like in this situation, the first thing you need to do is get into a defensive stance. Put your hands up, take a step back, whatever your dominant leg is in the back here. Unlike the video where you saw earlier, I'm like here just talking like, I'm completely vulnerable. Having your hands up is going to already help you be a more advantageous and defensive position because it already starts blocking some of his potential attacks. So Jeremy's throwing his hands at me. I'm already kind of blocking a little bit here, keeping my stance open. Now, the technique we're going to show you today about how to avoid it is going to be a parry and a slip. What the goal of that is, you're going to redirect the punch and move out of the way at the same time. So the first part of that is the parry. So when he throws his punch, I just move out the way. I push his hand from the outside in to redirect it away from me, right? So from behind me, you can see it. Jeremy's punching. I'm just doing that just enough to get it off my center line, right there. The second step of this is going to be a slip. And what you're going to do is when he punches, I'm going to take jab step out, a quick little step out, and move right out to his outside of the attacking arm again as well. One more time, just like that. And now we're going to put it together. So he's going to throw his punch. I push out the way, step out. That redirects his attack away from me. I'm also avoiding to the opposite side. That creates as much distance for me to be in a safe zone from here. Now I can decide what I want to do. I can either just run away, I can push him, or if he's still engaging and he's pretty tough, here, you can do a counter punch. If you still have your phone in your hand, you can chop him right in the neck, right there. All right, so now we're gonna break down the footwork in more detail. So going back to how it all started, you wanna get into your defensive stance first, like your hands up, foot back, keeping this like fighter stance space. So if Jeremy's attacking me, I wanna keep this space. I don't wanna cross my leg and run backwards. I wanna keep this space so I can operate, and this is how I'm gonna keep my stance going. So now, when we talk about the specific techniques and moves, we're going to start off with the parry. When you throw the punch, push out the way, you don't have to move your feet at all, really. For here, you're just going to redirect the punch out of the way and slip to the side. So the slip is when you actually have to take a step. So what you're going to do is when he punches, you can take a quick jab step to the outside. One more time, he's throwing his punch. I just got to get off the center line where he's aiming for. I'm just moving out just enough so he doesn't hit my head. And that's how you take a step first here. Putting that together, I'm going to parry, step here, right? One more time, here. Now I'm on the outside of Jeremy here. What I'm going to do here is now pivot. So I'm going to plant my foot, the one I just took a step with, and turn my other foot over here. This gives me distance and puts me in a position where he can't attack me. So I'm in a much more safer and more advantageous position now. From here, you can decide if you want to push him away, punch him, whatever it is that you feel like you can get to a safer position.